Hello, I'm Talion Trevere. Welcome to my stream. And I see you there, Badman. Welcome. Thanks for coming. I'm back. Yeah, it's been a while. I was on vacation for a bit. Um, as you can see, I am a little bit sick. Again, not still. We do not have a Koki today. They're busy with work right now, so they'll be out for the foreseeable future, but, you know, hopefully, if they have some time, we can, collab on this some more. How was the vacay? It was nice. It was honestly kind of tiring. Like, it was nice, but it was also the kind of vacation where you need a vacation afterwards, you know? There's just so much stuff to see and do. I'm just like, you know what? Can I just, like, rest for a little bit? But yeah, it was still good. It was fun. Yeah. I guess we'll, see if I can remember what the heck was going on in this game. Back to our high roller mode save. Oh man, I'm realizing that I do sound like really stuffy. Sorry about that. It's just how it's gonna be today. Now I'm gonna have to voice all of the characters. Uh-oh. What's the game doing? Well, it's not frozen. Thankfully, you can get back to calm, cozy dystopia of serial murder and mind games. Yeah! It's gonna be so much fun. Do I have to, like, click to continue or something? Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, we were investigating. We had officially, arranged for some sort of court hearing. We left the company building, right? We were going somewhere else. Are we going to the hotel or something? Or not hotel, to the hospital or something like that? I don't remember exactly where we were going, but we'll figure it out. I think I should probably take a moment to review our stuff. I don't think we need the terms. That's probably fine. Oh, the morgue. Okay. Profiles. We can take a look at people real quick. There's our victim. Yeah. Hacker, but don't put that down, obviously. Okay. No, I mean, I remember the people. I don't know if we need to go through this piece. Oh, yeah. We live in the company building now, yeah. The weird secret gyms are now finders keepers. Okay. Yeah. I think what I really should look at is our evidence. Okay, inconclusive, of course. Okay, we have some of the timing information. I wonder if the whole insurance thing is actually going to be, like, relevant information. That'll be interesting. I mean, this is literally a piece of evidence, so, oh boy. Hmm. One of those things that seems totally irrelevant, but gonna come back somehow. Hmm. I read through that a little bit too quickly. Yeah, it's just saying that there's nothing to test, so we don't know. And these times, I think, are, like, corroborated by actual logs and things, right? So these are actual, like, specific times. Except maybe this one. Okay. Okay. Yeah, there were, like, security cameras and, you know, door, whatever other kind of, you know, surveillance equipment he's got. Okay. And we're at a scene change, so, yeah. Okay. Well. Mystery guest never had a chance to spike the drink, yeah. Oh boy. Let's see if I can read for 2 hours straight. As I approach the lobby's exit, the building's soundproofing begins to fail. The crowd has gotten bigger, but there's something else happening out there. On tape, yep. The energy's not panicked yet. It's creeping up on the tipping point. Are this many people pissed at Noble for selling androids? The hell's got them all so excited? This is gonna be a little bit challenging, huh? I need a Sarah voice when I can, like, barely talk. Adonai, what does that symbol mean? In this rabble? Probably something vulgar. Which one? That heart with the bullet hole. Uh-oh. I don't know. It's probably nothing. Based on net associations, it appears to be a symbol for the heartbreak killer. That doesn't make any goddamn sense. Why would that freak have a symbol? Or following? Or these... whatever these people are? And why the hell would they be outside David Asher's apartment?
Noble's trying to cover up the truth!
They are?
Those Megs in there are scrambling to shred every document they can. We need to stick together, form a perimeter, and try and catch them when they go to dump the scraps.
Sarah, what are you hoping to find?
Proof that Asher was killed for trying to blow the whistle.
Blow the whistle? On heartbreak? They think David did the murders. It sounds like they think he knew something.
Noble doesn't want the world to know that the A-16 is sentient and homicidal.
They think the Heartbreak Killer... Well, I mean, I guess it would make sense for the Heartbreak Killer to be an android, given that, like, the main thing that he's known for is, like, being too perfect and, like, cold and calculating. You think that... You think that Heartbreak is an android?
You think whoever did all that was human? Noble's advanced prototype went amok and started killing.
Started killing random people?
Yeah, exactly. The 6 perfect shots. No human could ever do that.
Yeah. It's not that strange a leap of logic.
Don't be a lamb. It only looks random. There's a clear pattern, as long as you're smart enough to see past the bullshit.
Oh, okay. And how does one see past the bullshit? Stop engaging.
Smart kid. He gets it. He's asking the right questions.
What the hell are you talking about?
No way those victims weren't related. It's gotta be deniable ops.
that mean? I love that they have to clarify it's fictional. It's definitely not a real thing. No such designation exists. Totally, definitely. What the state wants you to think, yeah. Hello, Bolt. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. They must have all been in DO together before getting their records bleached. That as soon as they've outlived their usefulness. What are you, nuts? Everyone knows the first 6 HK got to were the 6 prototypes that came before him. Oh boy. Form androids so perfect, no one could tell the diff. A bullet to the heart's the only way he could kill those other over-engineered freaks. Everyone's got a goddamn opinion. I don't love conspiracy theories, don't love a hotline for reporting to the state either. Yeah, it's very, very creepy. I see. Stop seeing, start moving. These people are insane. Why don't you eat some more corn slop, asshole? You think you can be the cyberpunk without ever thinking for yourself? You think it's a coincidence victim number 6 was working on hardcore crops? Putting something in the food. Those people. A heartbreak. This is a goddamn embarrassment. What the hell am I paying taxes for if the state can't shut this shit down? What about you, Adonai? What do you think about this heartbreak figure? They're just a murderer. Should be caught and sentenced, like any other murderer. But they must have some reason for doing such terrible things. Aren't you curious? Why? Are some reasons for committing murder better than others? They might have experienced trauma or abuse. They might have... Oh, sweet baby girl. Millions of people experience trauma and abuse every day. Millions. And there's only one heartbreak. So you think that they were just born that way? That's my guess. Yeah, you would... No firm experience? Exactly, cool motive, still murder. That's... unsatisfying. Sad. I don't see why it would be. If heartbreak was born like that, then they never had a chance to be anything else. If heartbreak was born like that, then none of us normal people have to ever worry about turning out like them. That kind of predestination. It means they never have to take responsibility for what they are. The state can make them take responsibility as soon as they catch them. Oh, Morgan. Morgan. You make it sound so trivial. You're a very dangerous serial killer. Just a serial killer. Just. HK shot someone every day. It would take them 1,132 years and about 11 months. Huh. In order to have killed 413,789 people. You did that in your head? I think she probably did that math in advance. I'm good at mental math. You counted the leap years. But what is the significance of that number? deaths within 18 months of the Blakeford industrial disaster.
Yeah, it's a specific number. Cyberpunk is... Huh. Okay, it's literally just saying cyberpunk. Okay. Okay, so it has a certain... What's it? It has, like, certain connotations in this society. Okay. Oh boy. Oh no. Interesting. Is this actively being suppressed? Or is that a coincidence? It can't be a coincidence.
Times that number by 2 for the injuries, and tack on another 183% for the birth defects. 413,000 dead, and there wasn't anything evil about it. Human error, some shoddy welding, and time. So you think that heartbreak is nothing, by comparison?
The only way to get expedition is to keep talking, yep.
Perhaps that is the problem then. If they're nothing, if they represent nothing, then they can stand for whatever the crowd wants them to.
Please make way. Officials are coming through. Please disperse. Keep walking, pigs.
Fascists!
Noble owns the cops! Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to voice all of these characters now, too. Let's see. I don't even know what to do for him, especially since I can, like, barely talk. Yeah, no Cookie today. They're busy with work for the foreseeable future. Only the cops they build in their factories. I'm, like, not great at doing different voices even on a good day. I think today they're all kind of gonna merge together into the same thing. But whatever, it's not a huge deal. I'm no professional voice actor to begin with, so I'm just doing my best. Cowboy up on London, tomboy up on Rays. I don't know if I can do cowboy. Only the cops they build in their factories. Very funny. Why are we tolerating this shit? You want me to wade through into the crowd with a nightstick? Prove 'em wrong. You know what I mean. We're the only people in this city trying to do some goddamn good, and they all just... I guess the good thing is I can make my voice really raspy now.
That's part of our job, detective.
No offense, ma'am, but wearing a police badge earns you a little more than hate. A little more hate than... They give prosecutors badges.
I have an ID for the parking garage. Does that count?
Depends. You ever hesitate to wear it in the open?
This moral relativism of yours seems like a strange philosophy for someone in your profession, Adonai.
That face!
Breaking out the thesaurus on me? I'm only being realistic. And humble. I'm just one woman, Sarah. Whatever I do, right or wrong, less than a % rounding error in the grand scheme of things. Do you tell that to your clients? Oh, they come to appreciate it when I win. I don't mean cops in particular. The same deal applies to anyone who works for the state. The terms are stark, but the ink dried a long time ago, and we all agreed to them.
I don't recall voting for it.
Well, not voting is how these things come to pass, so... We traded freedom for safety, individual rights for collective power.
Well, isn't that familiar?
The state won, the citizen lost. The very least we can do is take their criticisms head on.
Oh, look, I don't have a problem with the responsibilities of authority. Like how she switched from heartbreaks to just one person to I'm just one person, yeah. It's just the through line of her philosophy. Yep. Only with authority being challenged. They treat us like we're the bad guys.
Well, sometimes we are, and sometimes the law is wrong. So, if any given individual is too small to ever affect change...
So if the public's gonna hate us no matter what we do...
And if corporations and governments will trample over people the same, regardless of their character...
And if we can't even be sure we're doing the right thing...
What do you do, Adonai?
What the hell do we do? I really like this parallel conversation. That's really fun.
I think it's pretty simple. It's not as complicated as you'd think. In times like these, in a world like this, the only logical way to live is... The only moral way to act is... do whatever it takes to win.
Oh, that's so cool!
If I'm insignificant in the grand scheme of things, I can do my worst and no one will notice.
This too is Yuri, it sure is. And the music kicking in too!
If power is inherently evil, holding back won't save your soul.
Oh, that's a hard line. Love this scene, it's so good.
Just fight with both barrels. And trust the opposition to do the same. Winner takes all.
That's so good. Gatesfield Memorial Hospital.
Oh, thank you. You're a lifesaver. And the next time that bridezilla texts you, just turn your phone off. Who's she talking to? Chatty guy. Must have been due to go on break.
Some employee, I guess.
When he tried and failed to find the witness's medical record, his data pad had the name blacked out. I did see that they have the Caduceus Executive 3, more expensive than David's, which means they most likely...
Ah, so that's how the insurance is going to be important.
How did you do that? You need to hold the button to get the doors to close faster. Mashing does nothing.
Poor child.
That is not what I meant. There were many others who arrived before us. How did you get us down here so quickly? Well, I didn't do anything. It was that nurse who escorted us. Yes, but you managed to get a stranger like him to help you with so few words, so little information. I don't think you even gave him your name. Haven't you heard of the golden rule? Shining eyes! She's so cute! Of course I have. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Wrong. Treat others how they would want to be treated. He wanted someone that he could vent to. He wanted someone to pay attention to him. And he wanted to feel appreciated. Which meant he'd be eager to help, given the chance. Even just reading someone's mood is quite difficult. How can you know how another person wants to be treated?
Baby, she is baby. I love her.
There are no mind readers. No one can ever know anything about what anyone's thinking. Maybe not even themselves. Doesn't matter if they're your parent, your twin, your lover. It'll always be a gamble.
And you love gambles, don't you?
That is not a very comforting sentiment. Well, I think it's fun. Only because you're good at it.
She's so disappointed.
How did you get good at it? Same as anything. Observation and practice. You must have been observing and practicing for a very long time then. So we proceed down the hall, bear left, look for the fourth door. I'm gonna open the one that says morgue on it. Hmm.
Oh, this is a character. Look at that. What is up with that arm? What is up with whatever? I mean, I assume on the arms it's like tattoos, but then she has it on her shirt too. What is going on? That's a cool character design though, gotta say. I love the transparent jacket. That's really fun. I think it's mesh. Oh yeah, that's a good point. It could just be like her tattoos showing through mesh. Alright, hang on.
Oh, hey. Come on in. Don't stand there out there in the cold. Wouldn't be accurate. Sorry about the chill in here, but I run a little hot. And you can see my roommates never complain. Yumi Sato, medical examiner. Dr. Sato, just the lady I wanted to see. I didn't expect that I'd get to. The fact that they've assigned a medical examiner and not just some ad or junior means... Oh, you can just call me Yumi. And you're... Morgan. I represent the deceased. The deceased? Oh, the deceased. Asher D. Wait, really? That's, weird. I thought this time slot was scheduled for a group of noble PR people who... I know. Weird, right? Well, what the hell do I know? I was getting tired of hosting Max anyway. I gotta finish typing up this report before we talk shop. But, in the meantime, feel free to make yourself at home. Alright. What can we see here? What's this? The hospital's getting renamed. No, guess it's some other hospital that got snapped up. Okay, the Karia family is maybe going to be important. The Ikaria. Guess they weren't always in the same line of work. Now they're plastering their name wherever to get themselves a new image, I think. All the nobility are eager to prop up their image wherever they can. So what was their original deal? Of course.
Oh, look at that kitty. Hello, Fluffy. So cute.
So what is the deal with these guys? Oh, wait, okay. Wait, did I accidentally skip a bunch? Hang on, what happened? Oh yeah, I guess I just like didn't scroll down. Whoops. Sorry about that. Good thing I still got the thing right. Okay. But that must go double for the Icarias. Assuming the truth about their criminal past is anywhere close to the rumors. That's a lot of screens. There's gotta be diminishing returns on productivity. Why do you have so many monitors, ma'am? You can't just ask someone that. Good question. Every quarter when they do inventory and budgeting, they ask me if I need anything, and I never do, so I submit a blank form. But I guess a while back there was a +1 in a spreadsheet somewhere, and no one's ever corrected it, and so... boom! I got 4 new monitors every year. Wow. You run out of things to use them for. Sometimes. But this year I've started running 2 dramas at once when I'm doing rote work, which helps. Watching 2 television shows at the same time helps you do rote work? Helps me use up the screens. I see. Why is there garbage here? Those 4 new monitors will be the key to cracking this case wide open. Yep. Are these all dead bodies? One would hope so. I only meant that I'm surprised to see them stored here. It suggests a backlog, which suggests a higher murder rate than the public data would lead one to expect. I mean, they're not necessarily all murders, right? Do you only examine bodies for the police, Doctor? Well, I guess if that's the case, then maybe it would make sense for them to... Oh, I wish. Nah, most of my job involves confirming COD on natural deaths for insurance adjustments. Insurers want to blame the mod for failing. Mod makers want to blame the stiff for not exercising enough. Family says the company insurance plan would pay for mods, but not a gym membership. Yeah, that whole wall there is suspected defective liver mods, suspected leaking internal bio batteries, suspected CCIC. The CCIC? Climate change-induced complications. Huh, what does that mean? Even proof that climate change contributed to an otherwise natural death? Very, very rarely. If it can be proved, what does that mean for the family of the deceased? Plus or minus 14% on the life insurance payout. I mean, it's most of what I do, and I don't dislike my job, it's just... so much of what I do just boils down to telling a bunch of cheapskates how to split the dead man's bill. There's enough to make homicide feel like a breath of fresh air. We sue the earth. Is she finishing up over there? Right, okay. So what's up? Thanks for your time, Dr. Sato. My first question would be, what was the cause of death? Oh, wow. Hi there. Cute android. I didn't even realize it was really cute. The skin is... That's remarkable. Even just looking close, you can tell. They really are warm. Go a little... So cute. Still not quite human body temperature, but they've come a long way. The early gens all looked flushed. Felt like they were always running a fever. And they ran like it, too. Even 2 years ago, the average warm android only lasted... Sorry, but the circumstances surrounding this particular case call for expediency. Right, right. So, what can I tell you? Well, we want both. Were you able to determine the cause of death? Well, cause of death, sure. We got that much figured out, at least. Why doesn't that sound particularly reassuring? Dr. Asher died of respiratory failure. Very specific. Not enough oxygen in the blood, not enough blood going to the brain. Root cause being widespread depression of the central nervous system. What would the symptoms be? What would it have looked like? Lightheadedness, followed by dizziness. Then headaches, slurred speech, exhaustion, loss of consciousness, and finally, respiratory arrest. Sounds right. Report shows that the EMTs tried intubation, then resuscitation through electrical stimulation, repeatedly. By the time he got to the emergency room, they were desperate enough to attempt direct artificial blood oxygenation. But it was too late. And you're certain of all this? Oh, well, most of it, sweetie. Most of it? Yeah, it's turned into quite the puzzle. And I'm used to having more pieces to start with. I was surprised a man as rich and famous as him didn't have any kind of biomes, but his files show... What does that mean? Oh, biomonitor. Oh. Hello, fluffy one. Stay out of the camera, please. Okay. He wasn't a viable candidate for modding. Yeah, that's right. Without that kind of first-hand tech, we don't have nearly as much data as we'd like. But he was extensively monitored from the moment the EMTs arrived. We're very certain about our conclusion. Did you find anything else unusual about his body in your examination? Cuts or bruises? No injection sites? Nothing in any cavities? Nothing at all, huh? Alright. And the police mentioned a tox screen. Yeah, that's the thing. They ran a tox screen when he first arrived. Difficult diagnostic intake procedure. Based on the emergency call, they figured he must have overdosed on something. But the tox screen gave them nothing. After he died, we performed the broadest screenings possible. Nothing. So were you forced to conclude this was a natural death? I didn't give up that easy. I took blood samples and compared their makeup with what was on record in his previous medical history. I managed to isolate a single, non-naturally occurring chemical compound that wasn't there before. Ooh. What was it? Some exotic toxin from a different hemisphere? I wish. I ran it through every available database we have access to. And even a few I only sort of have access to through some friends. Your modded armor is more of a modification rather than a replacement. Yeah, I mean, I assumed that she was just like wearing some kind of gauntlet over it, but yeah, it could just be like an exoskeleton type of like power armor kind of deal. Not only does it not match any known poison, it doesn't match the chemical makeup of any registered compound. Okay, so that does make it sound like some sort of designer drug, like we were talking about before. So, a designer drug, huh? That seems to be the best explanation. What the hell did you do, David? You said it didn't match any registered compound? What about compounds that aren't registered? Those friends of yours, private sector folks? Yeah, in pharmaceuticals. If one of them patented a new compound, a new drug, what would keep its formula from going on the record? In the private sector, intellectual piracy is the norm, so you're expected to protect your research aggressively. Patent first, find a use later? Yeah. A patent would have to at least describe your compound in brief, but depending on what country you file in... It's like, you look like a raver. I bet you know all the cool drugs. I've heard it may be considered prudent to keep the actual chemical makeup off the record. Smart. Using international IP law as your own personal minefield. That sounds complicated. How so? Whenever you're ahead, patent as much as you can, as fast as you can, but bury the formula so no one knows where it's safe to walk. If anybody small and ambitious comes along, finds a new drug they're excited about, you flip up your card, let them know you came up with the idea years ago, and that you'll give them death by 1,000 court dates if they so much as blink. Wouldn't work on anyone your size or bigger. They could punch back. But for the rest of the field... Wow, you corporate lawyers are scary. I'm not a corporate lawyer. So you came up with that strategy just now? It's admittedly not that big of a stretch. So it's possible that this poison is actually a known substance? Something that the hospital could have easily identified. If it wasn't considered a trade secret. Yes, unfortunately, that is a possibility. Morgan, I'm hopelessly multi-talented. Yep, she's just that good. And still, just because a drug is new, that doesn't mean it's original. Does the effect that this compound had remind you of any other drug? Maybe one that's prescription only, or a controlled substance. One you might know by another name, but with a patented structure? Sorry, sweetheart. It's a general depressant.
It is a little bit weird to me that she keeps, like, calling Sarah sweetheart. Like, she is cute, but also, it seems a little bit, patronizing. There are a lot of drugs that have that effect on the body, and they come in all shapes and sizes, from all kinds of places. If the effect was unremarkable, what about its strength? Could you estimate how much of this stuff he had in his body, all told? Not precisely, no. Not without detailed knowledge on its half-life. But I'd guess that it must have been... about 20 milligrams? Is 20 milligrams a lot? Not for a medicine. So this wasn't just an overdose of something relatively harmless, then? No. Not if 20 mil was enough to crash his entire nervous system. Thank you, Yumi. Of course. So, you ready to view the body? We can skip it if you want.
I know most people get squeamish around corpses. Yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. Okay then, let's get started. Alright, I'll just step out for a moment to give you some privacy. Yes, please. Thank you. Poor Sarah. The last time we talked was on a Sunday. You were complaining. I remember that. It's the principle of the matter. Right, you'd ordered this cheap piece of shit sculpture or something by mistake. Then it came damaged, and you wanted to send it back for a refund. I gently reminded you how, with your salary, it was literally not worth your time. And I kindly offered to throw it out for you, since you're having so much trouble letting go. You're only offering because you want to see how loud it sounds shattering at the bottom of my trash can. I denied it, even though you were right, and it was obvious. I should have let you have that one. I thought that he would look different. But he looks exactly the same as I remember. His skin is pale, and he's very still. But his face is the same. His hair, his hands. You were expecting something more drastic. The last time I saw him, he was alive. He smiled and told me he would see me soon. Now he is dead. Something is gone. And I can't find the difference. I'm trying to look harder. But I think I might just not be capable of it. And I wonder why. Why I was created to not be capable. Could be an issue of skill. Damn it, Morgan. Or maybe it's not something that can be seen, no matter how hard you look. But it's there, I guarantee it. I've seen the transition enough times to be sure that between life and death, the distinction has significance. To the dead, at the very least. You're going to smoke? Here? Now? I'll pay the fine. That's not the issue. Were you expecting me to fall to pieces? Real boys grieve in all kinds of ways, Pinocchio. She's so mean! And some don't grieve at all, it seems. I mean, that's not true. I definitely think Morgan is grieving in her own way. She just doesn't really show it, at least not in the way that Sarah expects. Oh, whoops. Forgot to read that one. Morgan always claimed to be cold and unfeeling while having the feelings. Yeah, exactly. I'm a cold woman. Sorry to disappoint. What the hell? Why the hell won't this thing light? I don't know. You have your cigarette backwards. Yeah. Alright, that's back into cold storage for him, so... Need anything else? Can you send me the chemical makeup of that compound you isolated? Sure, for what it's worth. Let me just... What if she needs to kill someone with gunpowder after this, Sarah? You've got to think about Morgan's needs.
It's true.
JoJo reference? I didn't see a JoJo reference. Then again, I have some knowledge of JoJo, but not the later ones. It's got carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, hydrogen, with hexagonal structures. So it's organic. But there's a number of metallic elements, too. But if you had to speculate on its intended use, based on what we know of its structure, well, it certainly acted like a depressant, binding to receptor pathways and affecting the balance of neurotransmitter reuptake. Depressants are pretty rare in the designer drug scene. Approximate knowledge of many Joes. True. People are always looking for a higher high or a crazier trip, but a more powerful depressant will just make you fall asleep. The backwards cigarette was a thing from part 2. I think that sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know. I feel like even that's like a straightforward enough thing, like an easy way to show that someone's not paying attention to what they're doing. I don't think it's necessarily any kind of reference, but I don't know, it could be. Not much need to hit up the gray market for that kind of experience. No, there's not. I see. Thanks again. You've been extremely helpful during a very difficult time. Hey, anything you need, give me a ring. That's very generous. Rockford's orders have got me on call, so I'm already getting overtime for the whole weekend. How can it be a JoJo's reference if Morgan hasn't thrown out her back once posing? I'm glad to hear it. Goodbye, Yumi. And goodbye to you, Greenie. My name is Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Up on ramps and down off ramps, above skywalks and under tram lines. The buildings get progressively more polished as we head into the most economically developed part of the city. Corporate territory, national headquarters for the likes of Howe Industries, Lockcoon, Tethys, Nath. Each of them sheltering their own micro-city of employee accommodations beneath their skyscrapers' shadows. Whalefall, the entirety of the ocean floor coming together to feast and grow and live. Live off the fetid, rotting fat of the leviathans that swallow generations of people by the mouthful. Weight is commonly listed, and my weight is... Do I really have to disclose that? Noble lays claim to one of the largest shadows in the city, a towering nerve center for the whole nation's android industry. It's meant to be intimidating, I'm sure, but today I'm glad that Noble keeps such a sizable physical presence here. I need answers about David and his work on Sarah. Answers I'd never get browsing the company website or speaking to a representative. Synopsis. Relationships. There are typically trivia sections as well. Should I start there? Noble will have their guard up, of course, but even that will tell me something. Where they let me walk, who they let me talk to. History.
She's like filling out the character profiles.
Their efforts at performative transparency and clumsy obfuscation will... How did you know my father? What? I'm sorry. Did I interrupt your brooding? No. What did you ask? My father. I know you were his friend. What was your relationship like? Can't you just scroll through our socials? Father avoided social media. And your online presence is not significant. You saying I don't have enough followers? Essentially. We went to the same college. You studied programming? No, I studied all kinds of different things as an undergrad, but not technology. Is that a good way to prepare for law school? I wasn't preparing for law school. Or anything else, really. That doesn't surprise me. David, though, he had talent, and he knew he wanted to do something with it. He studied programming, robotics, discrete math, cybernetics. What classes did you share then? Guess it must have been some kind of extracurricular then. What kind of crazy shit did they get up to in their spare time? Business ethics. Well, that's less interesting. I mean, it is interesting in a way. But I was hoping they got up to some crazy shit in their spare time. I was the second best student in the class, and he was the first. He was the one who asked the most questions. Sure about his actual ranking. He found the course challenging, and I clearly didn't, despite being younger. Guess he felt burned. He'd come up to me after class to argue, and sometimes to ask for help. Father always talked about socializing like it was a chore. It was kind of you to give him a chance. What, like I was some kind of social butterfly? The belle of the ball? You weren't? On Sunday night, he knocked on my door all panicked, saying he was in bad shape for this tech course. I like how she totally ignores any question about her social life. She's like, that's not important. There was a midterm or something the next day. I couldn't make heads or tails of the material, but I did my best to at least quiz him. He wasn't satisfied, though. Wanted to cram the rest of the night. Father had to cram for an undergraduate midterm? Did I say something scandalous? He's been called the founder of modern programming. Yeah, well, even founder types can have poor time management when they're 21. He was already fried by that point. It wasn't hard to tell what he was really asking for. So I went and stole a study aid for him. You stole a controlled substance just to help him with studying? No, that'd be insane. No, I just pocketed some breath mints from the common room. Told him to pinch his nose and swallow fast because the taste is so strong. Wow. You gave him a placebo. He already knew the content as good as he ever would. What he needed was to sleep. He could barely keep his eyes open by the time I got back from my daring heist. Didn't take much convincing for him to rest his eyes just until it kicked in. That's manipulative in a very kind of sweet way. Like she's trying to help in her own weird Morgan way. And the test? B+, I think. I'm surprised that father stayed close with you after that. You stole and lied to him. I stole and lied for him. And David understood that. He was good at understanding things without me having to spell them out. And I guess that's not the kind of thing that gets passed down through programming. So rude! Stop being mean to your daughter. Anyway, we kept in touch after that. First year of grad school, he published this paper. The Turing Solution. A framework for programming adaptive linguistic heuristics. One of his advisors came up with that title. David thought it was way too cocky, but it still hasn't failed any known Turing test in the years since. Don't act like you're the one who deserves credit for it. She's just proud of her dad! He called me one weekend, asking for advice on how to handle all the attention. Job offers, interviews, apprenticeships, invitations to immigrate. What did you tell him? I don't remember telling him anything, actually. A lot of our conversations went like that. He would talk to me about whatever personal or professional problem was stuck in his head that day, and I would nod while he wore himself out. And at the end of the conversation, he'd thank me. Even though I hadn't offered a single word of advice. He took Noble's offer, and they took over his education. Paid him to work on his master's during the day and attend corporate training at night.
Yeah, David's human rubber duck. Exactly.
And whatever else Noble may be, they were smart enough to start listening to him early. You are referring to his one-point doctrine. Quality over quantity. Simple and elegant, just like his code. She's so cute. Simple and elegant, but anathema to a global corporation with supply chains designed for maximum capacity and just-in-time manufacturing. But obviously they got over their distaste fast enough. In the span of a few years, Noble's gone from making manual labor ads for meager profit to being the world leader in intelligence as a service. Even as he was making money hand over fist, he still kept in contact with a nobody like me. I moved to the city for my apprenticeship. He helped me put a down payment on my apartment. Then made up excuses as to why he couldn't help me move boxes. So is that enough detail for you? Thoroughly convinced that he and I were, in fact, friends? I am. But, Adonai, the favor that you owe him, what was it for? That's private, understand? I have zero interest in talking about it with you. Say you understand. I understand, Adonai. We will be arriving shortly. Shall I send word ahead? Just tell them that David's lawyer is here. Alright. I've been here before. That right here in this lobby, waiting for David to come and treat me to lunch. At least I think it was this lobby. Could have been some other floor. Could have been an entirely different building. All these corporate towers of Babel feel like interchangeable fractals to me. Holding in on themselves in patterns of narcissistic paranoia. So monumental in the scale of their hubris, they needed to use non-Euclidean geometry when drawing up the blueprints. The greatest minds of each generation coming together just to find the most expensive way to shove their heads up their asses. Adonai, is something bothering you? Just doing the math on how long we'll be kept waiting here. Apparently, someone will be here shortly. So maybe if I pass the time by glaring around the place, it'll improve my mood. Ah, yes, of course. Oh boy. They changed the logo again. Noble Electronics. How does it feel stepping in here? Is this some kind of religious experience for you? It's just the corporation where my father worked. Careful now, or they'll burn you for heresy against the company.
I don't know, I think you're inner monologuing again. Yeah. Just stands around and does that.
You said it again. The company. As if it's a proper noun. You're mimicking the employees, aren't you? So it can't obey simple orders, but it can pick up on that.
Yeah, she's just that good, right?
Is it just a part of the corporate culture? Noble's one of the biggest corporations there is. One of the biggest there's ever been. We mere humans can't hope to escape the gravity of anything that size, no matter where you live or how far off the grid you think you are. So imagine what it's like working for them.
Almost like it's a person or something.
You live in company dorms, work in company quarters. Wherever you go, that logo's above your head. You eat, sleep, and breathe on Noble's timetable, at its discretion. When you spend your whole life inside of it, Noble must feel big enough to be the only company there is. Spooky. To think this is only one room. This complex is so massive, and it doesn't even feel man-made. It's like it was carved out of the rock by waves. Like it's always been here. That's the con. If this place was actually natural, there'd be birds everywhere. I hadn't considered that. Why aren't there birds in here? Probably because of what they do to the ones that get in. I'm kidding. I don't have a better explanation. So much energy. So many people. Also intent. Are you kidding? It's Saturday. The place is half empty. But doesn't everyone work on Saturdays? All the parents do, so they don't need to find childcare on Sunday. Everyone else flips a coin, I guess. All these people, for 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. What could they all possibly be doing? Making work for themselves. You can be very cynical, can't you? Yeah, I'm terrible. But that guy over there has just been jiggling his cursor for the last 20 seconds.
Yeah, 12-6 work. That's really rough.
Whoever comes to greet us better have a pulse and some goddamn authority. My mood's starting to sour, and if they just send me the first link in their infinite chain of corporate bureaucracy, I'll make them wish! Morgan?
Uh-oh, who's this? Who is this?
That's me.
Oh my god, my voice is really...
Hang on. I also just ran out of water, so I'm gonna go refill that. He's cute as what? And welcome, Koki! Glad you could join us for part of the stream. I don't know how much you got here for, but yeah, we went to the morgue and did some, well, didn't do a lot of examining, just kind of talked to the I don't know, whoever she was, the coroner or whoever. Anyway, new guy. Are his fingers like, maybe they're Yeah, I think that's probably like a replacement. Go back to the hotel grabbing some food. Hope work is treating you well. All right. Hey there. Android Manufacturing Quality Control, Eastern Division. Evan Dawes. Evan Dawes, he says, like it's an afterthought. What's a name compared to your place in the hierarchy? You seem familiar. Have you... I'm David's lawyer. Oh. Then we must have... Apologies. Let me just say how sorry I am about his passing. You and everyone else at the company must be going through a lot right now. As if it's a proper noun. Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. You're welcome, but it's no big deal. Everyone's on the razor today, but what else is new? When compared to PR or legal right now, our workloads in QA are... Never mind. How can I assist you? Shortly before his passing, Dr. Asher began the process of registering this android. Yes, that is Kurt. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job. Look at that. It's definitely custom. Gee, you think? Good thing I sought out an expert. Warm, it goes without saying. Reminds me of the A16 Premiere, if anything. The barcode is clearly printed, no visible defects. But you're right, it doesn't correspond to anything we've got on file. Well, they sent you the right man for the job. Now we just need to go to the right place. Not far, I hope. It's in the building. In the building? That could mean anything from down the hall to a half a day's hike. The production line on B9 should have everything we need. You do manufacturing inside your corporate headquarters. B9's a fully functional production floor, but it was only built for demonstrative purposes. New clients make deals upstairs about how many and in what shape or size. Then they come down to the basement to see how the sausage is made. They have enough money to build a fake factory just for guests. Smart! So long as you're only giving tours and not giving away company secrets. No need to worry about that. We take intellectual security very seriously around here. No kidding. There are 11 cameras on us at the moment, but I can see. And who knows how many pairs of modded eyes are aimed our way? Clearly, nothing happens here without the almighty company knowing about it. So if they try to claim ignorance about anything, it's gonna piss me off. I love these little cut-ins. They're so dramatic. Lead the way. 3:08 p.m. Basement floor. It really is fully furnished down here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. But pretty rare to get to see all this in person, you know. Would you mind terribly if I looked around for a moment? No problem. I've got some prelim paperwork I need to handle anyway, so have at it. I better take full advantage. I need more than cursory knowledge if I want to figure out where Sarah came from, and why David wanted me to take custody. I'm gonna look around. You stay put in the meantime. Adonai. Wouldn't want to lose you among the rest of the merchandise. Feels like I've seen this before. That's right. There was one in David's lab. Oh, I didn't even realize I'd clicked on anything. Oops. That's the nanograde elementary manufacturer. Manufacturer, for short. A real high-quality piece of machinery. Each of them built in-house by Randock Mechanics. We steal all the breath mints you can find. What does it do? Nano-level flash fab. Basically, a 3D printer for nanomachines. You built nanomachines in your factories. For use in your androids? I cannot imagine a 3D printer for nanomachines. Like, how the hell? That would be some crazy scale. The raw materials are cheap. Literally elementary. So no sense getting them shipped in. It's mostly the medical models that make use of them. Inject a couple thousand nanites into a patient's bloodstream, run diagnostics, and provide a solution. A 3D printer for nanomachines. So what kind of ink does it use? Silicon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, building blocks. Sounds a little bit familiar. Interesting that that got updated. Wow. They are pretty common elements, yeah, like it's not necessarily anything, but it's just that I think maybe just the way they list them off just made it sound really similar. I think the poison had nitrogen, no silicon, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I don't remember the exact makeup. Yeah, I do remember there being some metals in trace amounts. Wow. Oh my god. Nothing that small can possibly leave that big of an ecological footprint. Oh god, shut up. Shut up! They're terrible. All of them. Flawless logic, yep. Out of his practiced handshake. Solving catches. Microplastics has entered the chat. Secret android? You know what? It wouldn't even be that weird. They feed into the nanoprinter, and it assembles the machines particle by particle. Like a ribosome building structurally complex proteins out of chemically simple nucleic acids. Must be time-consuming. You would think. Randock cracked the code on parallel microfacturing. The inside's crystalline, sprawling, like an ant's nest. Raw materials enter at one of the thousands of different entry points, combining and recombining at intersections. The finished product ends up at the center, and drips out in a liquid solution. Distilled magic nectar, swimming with millions of nanites in just 2 minutes. Nectar? It's sticky? It can be, depending on the desired output. But the door vacuum seals while it's cooking, so don't worry. It's completely spill-proof. What a relief! Not exactly a box of paper clips David could just have brought home from the office one day. He must have bought his own. For some reason. this article. What have we got on this data pad? Some kind of write-up? Sullivan's Peak. God, why is the scroll not working? Yep. Oh. Hey, can I scroll, please? Wrong way. Oh my god. What is it doing? There we go. Okay. Surprised to find reading material like that around here. Are they passing it around as a gag? Or are they actually afraid of Sullivan's Peak around here? Noble must be. And I would assume dismissive of it, like they seem, you know, confident. But I don't know. I feel like I haven't necessarily seen evidence either way. Well, I don't think I got chips for that, so I think that was the wrong answer. Noble's making money hand over fist. Why should they care if some sci-fi authors think they need to slow down? Because it could spell doom for the entire industry if they're right. And threats to the bottom line are about as serious as it gets. Interesting. What's being built out there? Top of the line, brand new bestsellers. The Animate 16. Warm. It's kind of cold out there. We keep the factory floor refrigerated. Suppose the organics already tune metabolic activity to a minimum. That explains why the room doesn't smell like rotting flesh. The flesh out there is only somewhat rotting. Slowly. I just meant I'm surprised to see metal. Oh, well, all the A16s have alloy endoskeletons. The organics are layered on later in the process. Sounds like what Sarah told me about herself. Maybe she really was the A16's prototype. But it's hard to imagine bridging the gap between her and these scattered doll parts. I get that you can grow just about anything from lax Gemini. But how do you get the synthetic and the organic to work together? Yeah, that was our first concern when R&D began work on the warm concept. 1.0s were real skin with synthetic muscle. It was a horror show. Metal pulling on skin with just... Right. Didn't need that mental image. For 2.0, they worked backwards.
Organic muscles, organic skin. But digital signals on organic hardware was a dead end.
Didn't the muscles flex when you passed an electric current through them? Lax equals Henrietta, Lax Gemini equals cell cloning. Yeah, maybe. That would make sense.
They'd flex and unflex, sure. That's not nearly precise enough for facial expressions. Look like puppets strung up on live wires.
Also horrifying.
We used the test footage to haze interns, actually.
Wow. That's so horrible! What the hell? Must have figured it's something out. The A-16 wouldn't look out of place on the runway.
Thank you, we tried. We ended up reaching out to mod companies. Well, they actually just bought out half a dozen of them, but...
Right.
They figured out how to get human nervous systems moving mechanical limbs decades ago. So we just needed to get a mechanical nervous system to move living limbs.
Very clumsy attempt to avoid using the word human.
High precision mods are slotted straight into the nervous system. They receive their input from neurotransmitters, not bioelectricity.
So you had to do the opposite?
Exactly. We created a synthetic neurotransmitter that our androids could use to communicate with organic flesh.
Where did that breakthrough come from? Dr. Asher?
Hardly. He led the team that built the motor neurons in this analogy. They carry commands from the central nervous OS, the individual muscles across the chassis. But the the synthetic analog serotonin, that was actually an old brainchild from the VP of Android Futures, Helen Young.
Young. Hasn't David mentioned a Dr. Young before? Sounds impressive.
He's one hell of a biochemist. Or she was, I guess. Not much time for individual work when you get to her kind of pay grade.
So, Young collaborated with David on the technology that enabled warm androids. As I thought. Whatever went into Sarah that makes the androids so distinct couldn't have taken sole credit for it.
A biochemist? Yeah, she could have created something.
Young, did he partner with her on this?
Wait. What is that? Oh.
An inhaler left out on the desk. Probably a half dozen empty ones in one of the drawers. And Oz, the inhalers, they're distributed by the company, correct?
Oh, yeah. HR handles it. They personalize your dosage and prescription, and update it based on performance and job fulfillment reviews.
Other corporations do it the same way?
Yeah, pretty much. Everyone's trying to keep pace with each other, so can't have your employees losing focus on the job. Could cost you who knows how much in lost efficiency.
I'm sorry if this is insensitive, but given what happened to David, are overdoses common in the company?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says.
Overdoses, that is, not hospitalizations or deaths. It's all pretty organized these days.
These days.
And back when I started in consulting, pretty much everyone had an embarrassing story from their first 2 years when they popped a few too many greens and missed the on-ramp.
Popped greens?
Yeah, it used to be pills. Green to get you going, yellow to keep you there. Swallow a red after brushing your teeth and get into your bunk fast. Oh yeah, the inhalers are a huge improvement. Going from torches to the light bulb. They sync straight to your personal biomes and adjust dosage in real time. Overdoses are way down.
That's great to hear.
The trainees under me don't realize how good they've got it. Kids probably won't even have to learn how to purge.
That sounds unpleasant. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad kids don't have to learn how to purge. Yeah, I know, right? There's something out there that caught my eye when we came in. It's the normal corporate culture they have here, yep. A very familiar shade of crimson. If I squint through the glass, and out on the floor there are temperature-controlled fluid tanks. The glass and plastic glows an eye-catching scarlet that transitions into... So you had the blood towards the end.
You mean the oxidant? Yeah, relatively late in the process. What? Something out of place?
Androids have blood, even if it's not officially labeled as such. But it isn't red, it's pink. Legally distinct blood, don't worry about it. Yeah, it's Danganronpa blood, it's fine. Sometimes milky, sometimes neon, occasionally garish, but pink. Yeah, Morgan's very excited to see blood. I just didn't think the oxidant would be red.
Oh, right, sorry. I barely noticed it at this point. The color's natural. Comes from the biomanufacturing process. The chromofuge out there removes the byproducts, the waste, the excess pigment.
Changing it from blood red to psychopop pink.
Without that chromofuge, our android's flesh would come out looking all the wrong colors.
That may be true. It probably isn't, but it may be. But I have a simpler explanation. Blood is primal. The sight of it carries weight. They change the color of their product's blood so that when an android gets a bottle broken against its face, no one bats an eye.
Yikes.
This seems to share some components with that coffin Sarah was napping in. If Dolls does quality assurance, is it some kind of android calibration device?
The average person does not think of blood at once every 7 minutes. Morgan Heartbreak is an outlier and should not be counted. Yep.
It's probably what he'll use to register Sarah. Looks a little... Is Sarah tall enough for it to recognize her?
Well done. You ready to get the ad handled?
Thanks for humoring me.
Can you have it step into the scanner?
As he says.
Understood. Right then, what are we looking at here? Whoa. There's a lot to unpack here.
We theorized that it may have been Asher's pincushion.
Pincushion, huh? That would explain some of what I'm reading here.
What language is that on the screen?
Tess. You know, Tesseract. All noble products and...
What? Do they have their own language? What?
Well, pretty much all products, period, are programmed in Tess. Oh, it's a programming language, got it. Easy to read and write. Stay compliant. Now this model, what's it go by?
Sarah.
This Sarah model. It's got everything the 16th line has, that's for sure. Organic skin, hybrid muscles, advanced facial processing and emoting. There's a lot crammed in here that's still in development. Like, in the idea phases. Solar cell hair strands, decentralized redundant power, mental and physical overclocking with extended tolerances. Data storage is so large I can't... No, wow, he had to measure it using...
I love the smug face.
I love a poker face. Wait, decryption and signal hijacking. That's...
Hacking?
essentially...
Does that mean it could hack into its own tenants?
Hmm...
Of course. Yep. Laws of robotics. Oh boy. Oh, that's kind of cute.
Oh, now that's unthinkable. Literally, for Nat. For Nat to break its tenants would be like you stepping into traffic or dropping a baby.
I mean, people do both those things. They are very much not impossible or unthinkable. What if you removed the first law of robotics? Yeah! Nothing wrong with that, it's fine.
Even if you're physically capable of it, it's not something you would ever choose to do.
Buddy. Some people do walk into traffic. Psychotics, addicts, the mentally ill. Does that mean that there are androids?
Well, no, there aren't crazy androids, so yeah. I guess my analogy doesn't hold up.
That's okay. So it can't hack itself. But it was given the ability to hack other systems.
The industry line is that such a capability could be an option in certain emergency scenarios. Breaking through the firewalls and encryption of surrounding electronics to broadcast directly to police or military channels.
Huh. Interesting. That sounds very dangerous.
Speaking of military, this musculoskeletal setup is drastic. I've never seen this on a consumer model.
Can you lift a car or something, Sarah? Most cars. It would depend on the center of gravity. As long as humans want to harm humans, having obedience as a priority makes it impossible for machines to stick to guardrails without causing harm. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think... Wasn't that explicitly part of it, that they had to obey humans as long as it doesn't contradict the first? Here the humans want military/defense contractors, so bye-bye first. Well, that is very true. Like, in this case, they are, like, explicitly... Yeah. They are explicitly creating androids they're going to use for, like, military purposes. So they do, in fact, very much need that to be gone.
Lady, this Sarah could wrestle a public disturbance walker and come out on top.
Those stomping behemoths they bring out for riot suppression.
And in terms of computational ability, the estimate says that can't be right.
Look, Dawes, I was actually hoping you could tell me something about the software or the metadata.
Yeah, if you think of how LLMs get jailbroke nowadays, it's very hard to enforce rules against providing harmful information because the customer is always right. Yeah, that's very true.
Who worked on it, and when?
Right. Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate. The editing logs have been purged.
Doesn't sound very above the board.
Sorry, I can't tell you anything about who worked on Sarah or when.
Any chance you can restore those logs?
Not here, not with this machine. I'd need the computers that were actually used for programming this model.
Well, we might be able to get you that.
Any idea where those would be?
Sarah? I cannot answer that question with any accuracy. Had a feeling you might say that. That's right.
Sorry. I can tell you that the code is unique.
How we can sneak you in. London is probably still taking that phone call.
There's hints of the A16 in there. A few of the same conclusions. It's just Dr. Asher or whoever took very different paths to get there.
So Sarah has even less in common with every other android on the inside.
Sorry, didn't expect to hit a dead end here.
Not at all. You've been very helpful. Can we still get the registration done?
Yeah, no problem. We've got the software and forms all set up here. Occasionally we let a new business partner bring one home fresh from the oven, you know.
Oven? Gross.
Alright, a few basic questions then. Who's going to be the official owner of this unit?
She is. As it says, unless the will disagrees, it's my responsibility.
Right then. You fine with the designation, Sarah? We can set it to anything you like.
Well, actually... Never mind. Sarah will do fine. Does she have something else in mind? What were you gonna name this poor girl?
Okay, this part's all standard. Alien model, address, contact info I can get from your crumbs. Do you want to reset to factory defaults? Could clear up a lot of quirks.
Do not touch my daughter. It would be so funny if you briefly got a naming screen. That would be great. Not right now.
The last thing then is the grading. I'm reading 23 tenets here. Nothing too far out of the ordinary.
23? That's higher than I expected, talking with it. She seemed more malleable than that.
Don't blame yourself. Guessing tenant count from outward appearances has become a crapshoot. Not like it used to be. Used to be they only had 3 tenants total. And every unit had to have them. Then came the first accidents, and the first lawsuits, and the hearings, and the legislature.
And the demand for more tenants. A tenant making sure ads couldn't endanger the state. A tenant stating that ads wouldn't divulge private information without prior consent. There is a campaign calling for a tenant to weigh child and adult lives equally during risk assessment. There is a campaign calling for a tenant to do the opposite. Companies wanted their asses covered. Customers wanted guarantees. There was never much incentive to deny a requested tenant, so the list just ballooned. Until the military entered the market in full force. You sound like you don't approve. I wouldn't go that far. They needed their ads to be able to pull the trigger when ordered to. Without clearing 5,000 lines of bloated, hard-coded decision points to get there. I get that. Since the armies are the only ones using tech with bare minimum tenets. All the best, least cluttered, most elegant code is only used for war games. It's not very romantic. Well, not like I was on the jury. Department of Advanced Defense Projects versus Zenith Dynamics. The Supreme Court sided with the military's requests and set a new precedent that every other army around the world would race to meet. Changing tenets from a mandated list at the root of every ad's source code to a choose-your-own checklist. It's funny. Ads with the most tenets, they're so locked up you can't even have a conversation with them. Outside the armed forces, the only ads with a single-digit tenant count, just vacuuming floors. The most impressive ones, what you've got there, all somewhere in the middle. Sorry, went on a tangent there. Only thing left is the evaluation. What gets evaluated? Total financial worth, for insurance purposes. Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah, the insurance companies made sure we had very accurate algorithms for this. No room for human error, they insisted, with no sense of irony. Wow. I mean, I knew it was custom, but what price could they have possibly... I wonder if that's going to potentially be a motive? Of like someone killed him for Sarah? That's a lot of digits. You should know these formulae are pretty conservative with their estimates. Stingy, even. If Sarah's really David's last and greatest work, they say some things are priceless. But when you force an insurance algorithm to pick a number, try not to get any scratches on it, I guess. One expensive daughter, yeah. Okay, we already saw that. Interesting. Very large sum indeed. I'm wondering if this is going to be a break in the conversation, whether it would be good to end the episode here. I think it's probably a good idea to make this one a little bit shorter. Yeah, I think I'm going to pause here. Okay. We're going to pick this up again on Tuesday. So, hopefully my voice is more kind of back to normal. Alright, well, thanks for joining me for this, guys. Yeah, that'll be the only of the Devil Stream for this week. We've got a speed paint stream hopefully on Sunday, and then next week might be a weird schedule because I've got family plans potentially, so we'll see. The weekday ones should probably be okay, but there might not be a speed paint stream. Yeah, thanks guys. I'll see you later, I guess. All right. Good night.